If you're over 60, it's time to pay close attention to the foods you eat, especially the fruits you might have enjoyed your whole life. As we age, our bodies change in subtle but significant ways. The systems that once processed sugar, potassium, and acidity with ease now work more slowly and less efficiently. Add in the medications many seniors rely on, and suddenly, even healthy foods can become hidden dangers. Today, let's explore 6 common fruits that, while celebrated for their nutrition, could quietly put your heart, brain, and overall health at risk if you're not careful. Let's begin with bananas. For decades, bananas have been a symbol of wholesome nutrition. They're soft, easy to digest, and packed with potassium, a mineral we need for muscle and nerve health. But here's a little-known fact. As bananas ripen, their starches turn to sugar, and their glycemic index soars. For seniors, especially those with diabetes or slowing kidney function, this is a recipe for trouble. Overripe bananas, the ones with brown spots and a mushy texture, can spike your blood sugar rapidly. Your kidneys, which work less efficiently as you age, may not filter out potassium as well, leading to higher levels in the blood. The result? An increased risk of irregular heart rhythms and even sudden spikes in blood pressure. These changes don't announce themselves with pain or warning. They happen quietly, often overnight, and can set the stage for strokes or heart arrhythmias. If you love bananas, choose ones that are still a little green and eat them alongside protein or fiber to slow the sugar rush. And if you take medications that affect potassium, like certain blood pressure pills, talk to your doctor before making bananas a daily habit. Next on the list, grapes. These tiny, juicy fruits are packed with antioxidants and hydration, but they also deliver a hefty dose of natural sugar and potassium. For older adults whose insulin sensitivity has declined, grapes can trigger significant blood sugar fluctuations. Even more concerning, if you have compromised kidney function, a common issue after 60, the potassium in grapes can accumulate in your system, quietly raising the risk of heart problems. Many people snack on grapes throughout the day, not realizing how quickly a handful can turn into a high-sugar feast. If you're on medications for blood pressure or diabetes, this surge in sugar and potassium can overwhelm your system. The best approach? Enjoy grapes in small amounts, paired with protein or healthy fat to help manage absorption. And always avoid eating grapes on an empty stomach or late at night, when blood sugar and hydration are at their most vulnerable. Now, let's talk about pineapple, the sweet tropical fruit that feels like a treat at any time of day. Pineapple contains bromelain, an enzyme that can thin the blood and interfere with the clotting process. For seniors, especially those taking blood thinners or medications that affect clotting, this is a silent risk. Eating pineapple while on these medications can increase your chances of bleeding, including dangerous brain bleeds that are harder to recover from than typical strokes. Pineapple is also highly acidic, which can worsen acid reflux, a condition that becomes more common with age. Nighttime acid reflux can disrupt sleep and, if stomach acid enters the airway, reduce oxygen supply to the brain. Over time, this lack of oxygen has been linked to early morning strokes. Add the fruit's high sugar content, and you have a triple threat. If you enjoy pineapple, eat it earlier in the day in moderation, and never on an empty stomach. And always discuss with your healthcare provider if you're on blood-thinning medications. Watermelon might seem like the perfect hydrating snack, especially during summer, but there's more to this fruit than meets the eye. While watermelon is indeed about 90% water, it's also a natural diuretic. It encourages the body to shed water, a problem if you're already taking diuretics or blood pressure medications that do the same. The result? Quiet dehydration, especially overnight, which thickens the blood and increases the risk of clots forming in narrowed arteries. Combine that with watermelon's high glycemic index, which can spike your blood sugar, and you have a fruit that's not as harmless as it seems. Seniors should enjoy watermelon in small portions, ideally earlier in the day, and pair it with a source of electrolytes, like a pinch of salt. If you notice dry mouth or dizziness upon waking, reconsider your evening watermelon habit And always let your doctor know if you're combining it with medication. Oranges and other citrus fruits are widely loved for their vitamin C and immune-boosting power. But for those over 60, citrus can quietly interfere with some of the most common medications, including those for blood pressure, cholesterol, and heart rhythm. Citrus contains compounds called furanocoumarins, which block the liver enzymes responsible for breaking down these drugs. The result? Medication levels can rise silently in your bloodstream, causing more side effects or making the drugs dangerously potent. This can mean sudden drops in blood pressure, muscle inflammation, or increased risk of bleeding. Even a seemingly innocent glass of orange juice in the morning can trigger these effects if you're on certain prescriptions. To stay safe, limit your intake of citrus if you're on these drugs, and always consult your pharmacist or doctor about potential interactions. If you want a citrusy kick, a small splash of lemon or lime is usually safer. Finally, let's look at mangoes, a fruit often praised for its vitamins and fiber, but hiding risks of its own. Mangoes are extremely high in natural sugar, with a single cup rivaling the sugar content of some desserts. For older adults, especially those with diabetes or prediabetes, this can overwhelm the body's weakened insulin response, triggering inflammation in blood vessels and quietly increasing stroke risk. Mangoes also contain compounds that slow down the liver's processing of many common medications, much like citrus does. This means your medications could build up to unsafe levels, causing side effects or making your conditions harder to manage. Dried mango is even more concentrated, making the risks greater. If you enjoy mango, limit yourself to small portions. Eat it during the day and always combine it with protein or healthy fat to slow sugar absorption. And if you're on heart or blood pressure medications, get your doctor's advice before making mango a regular part of your diet. So, what can you do to protect yourself? The answer isn't to avoid fruit altogether. Instead, choose wisely. Opt for fruits with a lower glycemic index, like berries, apples, or pears. Always eat fruit in moderation, paired with other foods, and never on an empty stomach or right before bed. Most importantly, keep your healthcare provider in the loop about your diet, especially if you're managing chronic conditions or taking multiple medications. Aging brings wisdom and resilience, but it also requires a new level of care and awareness about your health. By understanding the hidden risks in everyday foods and making small, thoughtful changes, you can protect your brain, your heart, and your independence for years to come.